The Wellington High Court's been told that a mongrel mob prospect trying to earn his patch fired the shot that killed the 2-year-old daughter of a Black Power member. Jhia died in Wanganui last year. The shooter then celebrated when he'd heard what he'd done. Rachel Morton was in court.
7 men lined the dock at the Wellington High Court. 6 of them are accused of murdering 2-year-old Jhia.
The bullet broke a window in the room in which she was sleeping before passing through the back of the couch on which she'd been put to bed and entering her chest, exiting through her back.
The drive-by shooting was after tensions escalated between Black Power and mongrel mob gangs in Wanganui last year. Jhia was the daughter of a Black Power member. The day of her death, he'd been involved in a fight with the mongrel mob. The shooting was retribution. Her mother had feared an attack and put her daughter to sleep in the lounge where she thought she'd be safer.
She had rearranged the furniture in the lounge so as to put Jhia in a place where she thought she would be protected from any harm.
The man accused of pulling the trigger is Hayden Wallace. It's alleged he fired the high-powered rifle in a bid to earn his patch. The Crown says mob members travelled in convoy to Tutua's home and fired 3 shots. They were told just a few hours later that a 2-year-old girl had died.
The accused Wallace, Forbes and Marahi went back to the gang pad. There you will hear they celebrated the deed.
The 6 murder accused also face other charges, including assault and participating in organised crime. The 7th is charged with being an accessory after the fact. The Crown will call 120 witnesses, and the trial is expected to last 5 weeks. Rachel Morton, 3 News.
The tearful mother of 2-year-old Jhia has told a court how she feared for her daughter's safety the night she was killed. 6 men are on trial for murdering the Wanganui toddler, who was shot as she slept in her home. Rachel Morton reports.
Jhia mother, Ria Gardner, was angry when she walked into court this morning. She stared straight at the 6 men accused of murdering her 2-year-old daughter. She told the court the night Jhia died, 3 mongrel mob cars drove past her house, their occupants hurling abuse. So her partner and his friends, all Black Power members, threw things at them, breaking a windscreen.
Bottles and stones and rocks. They were breaking my fence apart.
After the altercation, Gardner said she feared for her daughter's safety, so she put her to sleep on a couch in the lounge instead of her bedroom.
Because the beds are level with the window. And my daughter, I wanted to put her to bed where she usually sleeps, but I didn't feel that it was safe for her to be put in bed.
Gardner was about to move her to a mattress on the lounge floor when she took a phone call, telling her mob members were outside her house. Then the shooting started.
And just held my baby. Because she was already gone.
Security was tight for both Ria Gardner and her partner Josh Tutua, Jhia's father's evidence. There were about 8 police officers at court. 3 stood down the middle of the public gallery. Black Power supporters one side, mongrel mob the other. Tutua, who has a tattoo of his daughter's name on his face, also gave evidence.
I knew she was dead.
Was there any blood?
Yep.
A number of witnesses yet to take the stand have been granted anonymity for their own safety. One will give evidence via closed-circuit television from an undisclosed location. Rachel Morton, 3
The jury in the Jhia murder trial has visited the scene of her shooting in Wanganui. The judge and lawyers also went along to see for themselves the street and the house where the 2-year-old died in a drive-by gang shooting last year. 6 men are on trial for Jhia's murder. The trial's expected to last another 3 weeks.
Attention and developments at the trial of 6 men accused of murdering Wanganui toddler Jhia. One of the accused has changed his plea, while the alleged shooter took the stand in his own defence. Simon Bradwell was in court.
For the last 4 weeks, Hayden Wallace has listened to evidence he shot Jhia with a high-powered rifle, killing her instantly. Today, with one word, he hit back at the charge he fired the fatal shot from a passing vehicle into Jhia's Periri Street home.
Were you at Periri Street at all when this occurred?
No.
The Crown claims Wallace was part of a 3-car convoy of mongrel mob members who shot at the house to avenge an earlier attack by Jhia's Black Power father, Josh. They say Wallace was the trigger man acting on the orders of co-accused Carl Czech. And that sparked an exchange of classic courtroom thrust and parry between the alleged gang prospect and the prosecution.
Carl Czech asked you to use the gun at Prairie Street and you did.
That is not true.
You were his prospect and he gave you that order.
No, I was not his prospect and he didn't give me an order.
Wallace adding that he didn't even hear about the shooting until the following day.
We'd listened to it on the news or watched it on the TV news.
This afternoon, Godfrey Marahi, one of 4 other men charged with the murder, changed his plea and admitted Jhia's manslaughter. The other members of the alleged hit squad choosing not to give evidence. Much of the trial has been held under tight security because of fears of gang tension. It now looks like the hearing may end late this week. Simon Bradwell, 1 News.
The man accused of firing the shot that killed a sleeping 2-year-old in Wanganui 18 months ago says he simply wasn't there. The Crown alleges Hayden Wallace is denying shooting Jhia Tatua to protect himself and the senior mongrel mob member he was working for. Joining us live now with the details is Rachel Morton. Rachel.
Hillary, this trial has already been going on for more than 4 weeks, and today the last of the evidence was given. One of those to take the stand was one of the 6 men charged with murder. Hayden Wallace is the man police say pulled the trigger on a high-powered rifle and killed 2-year-old Jhia Tatua, but it's a charge he denies.
Were you in the front passenger seat of Mr. Forbes' car, as people say?
No.
Were you at Prairie Street at all when this occurred?
No.
The Crown says Wallace travelled in convoy with his co-accused, a group of mongrel mob members and associates, and fired shots at the Black Power home where Jhia slept. The shots were fired as retribution for a clash between the 2 gangs earlier that day. It's alleged Wallace was prospecting for his co-accused Carl Czech, which means he carried out acts for Czech in a bid to earn his mongrel mob patch. The shooting was just one of those acts.
On the 5th of May last year, that Saturday, you were prospecting for Carl Czech, weren't you?
No, I wasn't.
You don't want to admit that to protect yourself and to protect the patch member that you're prospecting for?
No, I was simply not a prospect for Carl Czech.
The others charged with murder chose not to give evidence, but in a surprise move, a charge of murder was withdrawn against Godfrey Marahi, one of the 6 men accused of murder, and he pleaded guilty to manslaughter. Hillary, he's not the first person to plead guilty to manslaughter in this case. Before this trial began, 2 others did, and they've already been sentenced to 7 years in prison. Now, as I said, the evidence has finished now, so tomorrow the Crown will wrap up its case, followed by the defence, so we could see verdicts by the end of the week.
Rachel, thank you.